This is not a small crime. It is a story about stolen lifetimes, destroyed savings, and a man who became the face of an international elder fraud operation. Well, his name, shockingly, it is Atharva Shailesh, an Indian. He's 23 years of age and until recently just another face on the streets of Florida. But behind the chaos, he was part of a complex, ruthless criminal network that preyed on some of the most vulnerable Americans. Elderly citizens we are talking about who had worked decades for their retirement. The crime, it was shocking not just because of the method but because of the scale here. Authorities say that over 4 months, Atharva personally collected and laundered more than $6.6 million in cash and gold, stolen directly from the elderly victims. And yes, it wasn't just all. He attempted to grab another $1.36 million in gold, but law enforcement and the intervention of a friend prevented that from happening. Can you imagine it for a second? Nearly $8 million targeted in less than half a year. And for many victims, this was their entire life savings gone in an instant. You're watching TimesXP. It's me, Driti, Atri, and let me narrate how all of this really happened. It all started with fear and manipulation. Victims, they were convinced to liquidate their retirement accounts, withdraw their life savings, and convert them into gold bars and cash. They were told that banks were unsafe, that government agencies were investigating, and that danger, it is right there. And then Atharva would arrive at their doorsteps. He was really calm, collected, and convincing. With instructions in hand, he would pick up sacks of gold, cash, or maybe both, sometimes traveling hundreds of miles across Florida, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, or Virginia. Now, in some weeks, he made multiple trips a day, following precise instructions from his co-conspirators, some of whom they were orchestrating all of this scam from India. Now, this was not random. It was a logistical precision. Authorities tracked about 33 confirmed collection trips, and that too just in 4 months. Every trip carefully timed, every victim carefully selected. Florida was the prime target, by the way, because of its large retiree population. Senior citizens who trusted their instincts and institutions were suddenly forced to hand over decades of their savings. In fact, one victim turned over gold worth of hundreds of thousands of dollars, intended for medical bills or maybe family support, all gone forever. Others lost their savings that had planned to live on comfortably for the rest of their lives. But you know how they were caught? Well, they were caught when one victim got suspicious and contacted the authorities. After that, law enforcement moved in with an uncovered operation. When Atharva arrived to collect more gold, he was arrested at the doorsteps. A search of his phone revealed a full extent of the particular operation. Schedules for pickup, travel logs, messages coordinating deliveries, proof of laundered money, and clear links to the larger fraud network. Well, the phone told the entire story. The phone told the story the moment investigators looked at it. Then the damage that he caused, it was not just financial, it was deeply personal. Senior citizens lost not only money but also peace of their mind, trust in others. Investigators stress that cases like this show how modern fraud networks operate, exploiting fear, targeting seniors, and using young couriers to execute complex operations. Now, talking about the amount, then the total stolen and attempted amount was nearly $8 million. That's right. Now, this shows just how lucrative and destructive these scams have really become. In fact, in Florida alone, authorities say that victims lost more than $33 million last year just to gold-based scams. Now, talking about the punishment, of course, there are going to be repercussions, and that too severe. The sentence reflects the severity here, 18 years in federal prison. Justice was firm because this was deliberate, it was repeated, it was highly organized attack on the most vulnerable Americans. Officials made it crystal clear that if somebody asks you to withdraw any amount of cash, convert saving into gold, or hand valuables to the courier, it is not an investment, it is a scam. There are no exceptions, by the way, and law enforcement is ready to act. Now, this particular case, it is a warning. Fraud networks are global, they are organized, and they are willing to exploit fear and trust. But it's also a lesson in vigilance. The victims who spoke up, the friends who noticed something was actually wrong here, and the coordinated efforts of the local police, FBI agents, and IRS investigators stopped further losses and exposed a network that could have destroyed many more lives in the US. Millions were at risk, decades of savings were stolen, but the law caught up. This man, Atharva, just 23 years, he now faces 18 years in prison. And the message? That is crystal clear. Target the vulnerable and justice will come for you.